Hi, guys. If you're viewing us for the first time, because we're coming up in a few different states now, Nevada and Michigan, along with our regular Illinois broadcast, what this is a public service that myself, Sara Sadat, my wife slash producer, and Jeff Jacobson, who we are going to be bringing up shortly, have been doing to try to get the word out about some of the concerns and issues that have been happening with unemployment in various states. We started off with Illinois. This would be our 11th show. We try to go 1 o'clock on Illinois time, Central Standard Time, every day to kind of give people an idea of when to tune in regularly to hear any advice that they need to know regarding unemployment issues. There's obviously been a lot of confusion, a lot of websites crashing, different things that are happening. So we want to make sure that people are on top of what's going on and how to remedy the situation. If you have any specific questions, there's two ways that you can dialogue with us. One, write it in the comments. It'll come up here. We'll give Jeff Jacobson an opportunity to answer those questions and speak to you. But the recommended method that we always tell people is to click that link, which would allow you to pop up and ask your question yourself. And the reason this is recommended is that you can get the nuances of your questions answered. If there's follow-up questions, if there's a specific circumstance that you're dealing with, it's important for you to make sure to get your information and your question out there. I'm seeing we already have some people popping up. Kyra, I see that you're on there. And as soon as we get to Jeff Jacobson to start answering some of these questions, we'll pop you up. Jeff, tell me right. I can see you. Hopefully you can see me. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to be popped up. Jeff's ready to be popped up. So I'm going to introduce you all to Jeff Jacobson. Jeff, you're well known with our Illinois crowd, but we have some new states and new groups that are joining us. Tell us a little about yourself and your expertise.
So hi, everyone, and welcome. And so my expertise is, and what we'll be talking about is Illinois law, although unemployment really comes from the Social Security Act. So a lot of the laws are very similar in other states. In fact, under the COVID-19, the pandemic acts, that applies to all states for unemployment, and actually required a lot of states for their unemployment acts to make modifications. So I was an administrative law judge with the state of Illinois, and I actually, Raza and Sara, I found my IDES cup.
Well, fantastic.
And I've been practicing employment law, all sorts of law. We have a general practice here in Illinois for almost 30 years. So that's a little about me. Some of the viewers probably know me ad nauseum, but yeah, we'll be here answering questions.
Well, fantastic. And as Jeff was alluding to, we have done several of these. This is now our 11th one. We've done about 9 for our friends and members and community in Illinois. We then expanded to help out some people in Michigan. I think we are also in Nevada right now. I see some callers coming up, and one thing that I would ask is also to mention what state you're in so that we can specifically make sure we're addressing your needs and know if what we're talking about is relevant to you. Kyra, I see that you are on the phone. I can't see your video, but I'm going to pop you up. Hopefully you're ready, and let's see if we can't answer your question. Kyra, can you hear us? Kira.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, great. Can you tell us what state you're joining us from?
I'm from Michigan.
I'm from Michigan. Jeff, so we got someone from Michigan. You're on the line with Jeff, Raza, and Sara. So let's see if we can answer your question.
Okay, well, I applied for unemployment March 16th, I believe it was. My job told me to due to the coronavirus going on. I haven't heard anything from no one. I received the packet in the mail, everything, but that's about far as I went. I've been on my job for 5 years, so I'm not understanding, like, it shouldn't be no issue or nothing. So it's just really frustrating.
So that, my recommendation is you're going to need to contact the department. You'll either need to keep trying to call, and hopefully someone's going to answer, or what I recommend to people in Illinois and probably anywhere is to mail something in, give them your name, last 4 of your social, and how they can contact you, and let them know you've been trying to contact them and get through. I know a lot of states are overwhelmed. I can't remember which state offhand, New York or Florida. They actually doubled the number of customer service representatives, but a lot of the states haven't. So that's what I would do to get a hold of them. If then that's what I've been telling people in Illinois, that you need to keep trying. If you can't get
I can't hear anymore.
What's that?
She said she can't hear anymore, but the guidance you we'll put on the comment section so that she can see it. Can you hear us in the studio?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but you couldn't hear Jeff. Is that correct?
Right. Correct.
Jeff, try it one more time, because that was important enough information that I think bears repeating.
Raza and Sara, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
So my recommendation is to call in, keep trying.
Yep, I can hear.
All right. Well.
Okay. I'll jot down the information, but just state it for us so Sara and I have it, and so that we can put it in the comments the correct way. Jeff.
Yes. Okay. So I would call in. Keep trying as long as you can, and then if after a couple days, I would send a letter in to them with your claimant information, your last four, your social, phone number. They can get a hold of your mailing address, and hopefully then they'll get that. And my hope is you call in and get through, but if not, at least they have documentation that you've attempted to contact them.
And we've stated this before, that if you contact, at least in Illinois, you've got affirmation of this before 5 o'clock. No matter how long you have to wait, they're going to at that time be able to take your calls, even though the office closes at 5 o'clock. If you get in the queue prior to that, they're going to make sure they address your concerns. Is that correct, Jeff?
Right. So in Illinois, there's supposedly, if you're in the queue, they will make every attempt. Now, I have heard a lot of people say it. They called and they got hung up on. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And also understand that the law just changed with the federal changes and the governor's new orders he's issued. So a lot of the people that have been working there for 10, 20 years, they may not understand the new procedures and the orders when you call them. So be patient.
Fantastic. And I've just noticed Sara's put up a few numbers here. If you're just tuning in to us, this is a show that we've been doing regularly, 1 o'clock every day, to help people get the information about what they need to know regarding unemployment. We started off doing Illinois. Jeff has helped members of my union, members of the community, people in general. We've then also joined Michigan and now Nevada as well. So the phone numbers for unemployment are there. Like Jeff was saying, a lot of the federal law, which dictates and mandates, is pretty consistent. Jeff's expertise is in the Illinois Department of Employment and Security, having worked as an appeals judge. 1 o'clock is every day that we've been doing this. Times might fluctuate coming next week, but we will keep you updated over the weekend when the times will be. But Jeff, is there anything you want to add about why we are doing this?
Well, before I want to do that, Raza, I appreciate that you and Sara are going to be here 1 p.m. every day, but I'm only going to be weekdays from 1 p.m., so not Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, gosh. And it's, yeah, you know what? So we will also take the weekends off. But here's a quick reminder. If you are watching this, you're probably watching it on an unemployment group. Those are staffed regularly. So the questions are answered, if not by the three of us, by other members. We've noticed that people are always chiming in and helping with suggestions like, this has worked for me, that's worked with me. So even if Jeff, myself, and Sara are not there, those are good resources. You can get your questions answered there. We'll get to those when we can. If we don't, other members will get to it. So the resources are there 24/7, regardless of if we're doing a live stream or not. But I do appreciate, Jeff, you saying that the weekends we might be a little less, we won't be doing the live streams, but we'll be readily available on the group sites answering questions that way. Is that fair to say, Jeff?
Yeah, a good point, Raza, because a lot on the website, the people that are answering the questions, it's typically issues about getting through, problems that they're having communicating, most of the problems aren't legal issues. And so it's really been a great resource, that Facebook page, Illinois Unemployment Guidance. It's been very helpful. I don't know how many members we had. It was maybe we've gone over 1,000 now, but I think it was really good that you guys did that. So that's been really helpful. So if you're having issues, whether it's legal or not, hop on there and ask your question. You may have heard this before. There's never been a bad question. So that, and you help other people out. When you ask this question, there may be others. One of the interesting things I got a call from someone who's unemployed. He's been unemployed in the past during his lifetime, but he can't read or write. And so the computer access isn't helping him, and he can't go over to the library and get assistance there. And, there's no one nearby that he can go over to do it. So, my hope is the state does change procedures if the offices are going to be closed, where people that can't read and write can, fill out the application. But, I thought that was an interesting question.
Oh, absolutely. And something you almost don't even think about. There's a lot of different people that are affected by what's going on, and the system has to be able to accommodate. But here's the thing. I mean, essentially, we're going to learn from this, get through this, and that's, again, what these question answer sessions are about. Can I ask you, what was your advice, Jeff, in terms of how to deal with that?
Well, for him, I suggested similar people, you unfortunately are going to have to call in. Some people might have, friends or family members that can help assist them with it. Do it over the phone for them and fill it online, as long as they have, the power of attorney authority from that person to do it, they can do it. So there's a lot of people that are not computer literate, but they have friends and family member doing the application for them.
So if you're just joining us now, I see there's an influx of new viewers. This is a regular segment that Jeff Jacobson, Sara Sadat, Raza Siddiqui, that the three of us do as a collaboration along with all of you to help answer questions that you might have. You can ask questions in the comment sections. You can also click the link to pop back up to ask questions yourself. It's something that we've done for about 10 days now. We've added a couple of states as well. But Jeff, you were saying to the people listening from Illinois, there was some circumstances that you wanted to make people aware of and mention. Could I ask you to speak a little about that to see if there are questions regarding that you want to answer as well?
Thanks for reminding me. So under the pandemic emergency unemployment provisions, the Department of Labor, the U.S. Department of Labor, put in rules for those that aren't normally entitled to unemployment benefits but have been laid off. So the requirements are they have no rights to unemployment benefits right now. Their benefit year ended on or after July 1st, 2019. And it also requires states to be flexible on the definition of actively seeking work. We've talked about that over the last week. The 3 A's, able and available for work, and then actively seeking work. It's difficult to be actively seeking work when you're stuck in your house because of the governor's order. Able and available, if you can do something from your house, then you're able and available to work. It doesn't require you like it used to be able to leave your house and go to work. So those are the requirements. So if you've been denied unemployment benefits, if your unemployment benefits have expired prior to the 29th, under the pandemic emergency unemployment, you're entitled to unemployment benefits. So I would go file now. Like I say, the rules came out April 10th. The state now has their instructions on how to proceed. The three basic ones are the pandemic unemployment compensation that we know about. That's a $600 additional. And then there's the pandemic unemployment assistance that hopefully is coming out in 10 days, May 11th. For those that are not eligible, sole proprietors, 1099, you're entitled to 39 weeks of that pandemic unemployment assistance.
So these are people.
There's some changes.
I'm sorry, Jeff, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, you had cut out a little
hear
bit.
me?
Yes, you had cut out a little bit when you were talking about the 1099, 33 weeks. It got a little garbled. If you could repeat that part, number 3 of the rules of the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Act that you were talking about. If you could go over the third point, please.
Sure, yeah, sorry. So the pandemic unemployment assistance is for 39 weeks. It allows people to get unemployment that weren't eligible because they weren't W-2 owners. That's what's going to go into effect May 11th. So people should get ready. I've been asked by a lot of people, what kind of information are they going to need? I haven't seen the rules and regulations yet. My hope is and belief is you're going to need to have some proof as to what you made in the last 12 months, whether it's 1099s, a profit and loss statement, something like that will help with what you need.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions coming in. Are people getting the extra $600 if they go back to work part-time?
So it's a good question, thanks. So as long as you're getting $1 in unemployment benefits, you're entitled to the $600. So if you go back part-time, and let me explain how it works. So if your weekly benefit amount is $400, you can make half of that without impacting your unemployment benefits. So half of 400 is 200. So you can get $600 without impacting your unemployment benefit up to the $400. Once you make $400 or more, you don't get any unemployment benefits. So as long as you're getting $1 of unemployment benefits, you get that $600. So that's a good question. And people are, that's still not clear. So I'm glad we're doing this every day because there's still people that need to know that.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll ask you guys if you could do me a favor, and when you write your questions, also say the state that you're from as part of it so we get an idea of specifically how to address it. Jay just says thank you, and he appreciates it. We appreciate your question, Jay. Just thank you for dialing in with that. Lynn asks, do furloughed employees have to actively look for work? That's a good question. So you're furloughed. What are you going to do? How do you answer that?
So under the new act and the procedures, you don't have to be actively looking for work if you have employment and you'll be going back to it. You already have a job. It's just a matter of the governor's order expiring, allowing you to go back to work. So there's no need you have to be actively seeking.
Okay. Another question we have here, what are some of the questions on the application claim form that might cause denial? And just in reading this question, Jeff, there's been one that has caught a lot of people up, right? Let's go over that one.
So well, not on the application, but on the certification.
Certification.
Right. So on the certification, when you have to do that every 2 weeks, it does ask how many days you're unavailable for work. And so people that are furloughed have to stay in the house. They think, they should be answering 5 days they're unavailable for work. The truth is the answer is 0. Because of the stay-at-home order, you are available to work. The IDS has defined it if you can do something from your house, then you're available. So it doesn't matter that you don't go to the job, you can't go to the job, you're available during the COVID-19. Now, once the governor's orders change, once the definition by IDS changes and things change. So If everyone's able to go back to work and you're sitting at home because your company closed down, then you need to be out looking for a job, and you have to be able, available, and actively searching for work.
So that's one of those little gotchas that we've noticed multiple times is people did not know how to answer that or were answering it without recognition of what the governor's orders really mean. And one thing to get out there is that we have people from Illinois, Michigan, and Nevada watching, and all three of these states at this point have an extension on the stay-at-home order that currently is pending. So that's important to know that the answer to this is 0, that you are available to work if you are available to work at home, because we don't want to see anyone else getting tripped up on this. We've had multiple people asking questions about this and not having known how to answer it. So we want to make sure people listening that they know exactly how to answer this the right way.
Right. And the laws, like I say, are different in every state. The procedures and stuff are similar. For example, the whole due process requirements for the appeals comes from the federal requirements. So the original question was on the application, what things will cause you to get denied. So things like I quit my job, there's no good reason why I quit the job, would be one that you would get denied under 601. And there's people that may have done that. But if you staying at home because you're fearful of COVID-19, that's not a reason to get denied. That's not saying that you won't get denied. So let me go through the procedures. They're probably similar for all states. But in Illinois, you apply for unemployment. Right away, they send your check out unless there's a clear reason why you're not entitled to it with your application. The employer then has 28 days to protest or complain about your unemployment. So if you ask for unemployment and you put down, I quit, I hate the job, I'm never going back, that may be a good reason, and the employer may protest that, and then you may be denied benefits. That denial may come later. And then if it turns out you get denied and you don't agree, you can then file an appeal. The employer can file an appeal too if they've protested within 28 days. An appeal is like a trial. It's a hearing. You've got opening, you've got direct examination, cross-examination, closing, and then the administrative law judge that overhears it makes a decision. If you don't like that decision, you can appeal to the Board of Review. If you don't like that decision, you can appeal to the trial court as administrative review. The forms for appealing are on, you can either go to my website, jeffjacobsonlaw.com, and these are just the forms for Illinois, just so we're clear. Or you can go to the Illinois Department of Employment Security or whatever state you're in, and they'll have the appeals forms there. They're required to publish the rules and the forms. So that'll be there.
I think that's very helpful. I think Sarah is corresponding with somebody who'd rather kind of stay off the comments, which we're happy to accommodate when we can as well. Sarah, if you would like to kind of mention her question and some of the details that she has, we'll try to get your question answered as well.
Yeah, so it's a pretty lengthy question, so I just want to make sure that I get it accurately. So I am going to read it verbatim for the most part. So she says that I'm a hairstylist who is a W-2 earner, and she was laid off by her employer, so then she can receive unemployment. Her employer did receive a PP loan and was offered to rehire if she was comfortable with having all of us return. She did tell us that she can pay us upon rehire. However, also said that if you as a employee are not comfortable, she will go ahead and rehire us when it's time for everybody to return to work. She said that if we do not get rehired, we could lose our employment. She said that if we do not get rehired, we could lose our unemployment. She is aware of Illinois' unemployment handbook stating if you decline to be rehired because your safety and health is endangered, would she have a case to appeal if she tried to get declined by that unemployment?
So, I mean, it's interesting. So the wages under the Payroll Protection Act and I don't know when she'll be entitled to go back to work, but normally if you're hired and you don't go back to work under Section 603, you're not entitled to unemployment benefits. It's different now because of COVID-19. If you're fearful or you can't go back to work because of daycare, then you're entitled to unemployment benefits. However, I'm not sure why the employer is asking the employee whether they want their money or not. So if the employer sends the money to the employee, then the employee has to claim that. Most likely that number is higher than the unemployment benefits, so the employee won't be able to get unemployment benefits. It doesn't make any, I don't know why the employer would give them the option.
I think our viewer is just concerned that she would have her employer have her unemployment benefits revoked. So I guess her question is more around the aspect of, can the employer do something to make it seem that her unemployment benefits are going to be revoked, because she does not feel comfortable just returning back to work, as she's a hairstylist, and it is it's a close contact industry, as everyone is aware of.
Right. So
and she's not accepting the money. So will she be able to refile this claim going forward?
So it won't be a refile. She should still be getting unemployment benefits.
Okay.
If the employer protests in Illinois under 603, she would respond because of COVID-19. She's unable to go to work. And there's, that's one of the exceptions right now.
Sorry, let's get to a couple of these other questions as well. We have one that I know we've gotten a lot of questions about 1099 workers. We have a question coming in from Chicago, Illinois. I heard that independent contractors should apply, but I also hear not to apply until May 11th. What's the answer to that?
That's right. So if you're an independent contractor, May 11th is the first time. Unless you're a W-2 wage earner, you have to wait. And the date looks like it'll be May 11th. Deloitte is the software company that's designing it. But it looks like the date is May 11th that you could apply. There's no sense applying now. If you are a 1099 and a W-2 wage earner, you're doing both, and your W-2 wage earning had stopped or been reduced, you apply for that, not the 1099. So if you have a 1099 and you apply, you're going to get denied. You have no wages in the last benefit years, so they calculate it based on how much you've worked based on wages, W-2 wages, and so if you're 1099, you have zero, so you'll get zero.
Okay. Here's a question: how do they know that I'm furloughed, since there is no option to select that on the form?
So furloughed is laid off, reduction in force. It doesn't use the exact words furlough on it. So that's what I would suggest, either let go or, I would suggest let go.
Okay. How does the PPP loan work? Because they asked us to go back to work for 12 hours a week here in Illinois.
So the PPP is a loan or a grant for the employer. So if there's 12 hours to go back and you can work or have to work, and I don't know how the president's order on the meat processing is going to actually function, but if there's 12 hours of work and you do it, you have to report those wages with unemployment. So you may still be entitled to unemployment benefits. You may still be receiving unemployment benefits if you work 12 hours. But once again, if you work and make more or receive more under the PPP from your employer than your weekly benefit amount is, you get zero weekly benefit amount, and then you don't get the $600 federal amount.
Fantastic. Thank you for the answers, Jeff. And I just want to remind our viewers that though we've been having this 1 o'clock every day, it says at the bottom of the scroll, 1 o'clock every day. This is actually on weekdays that we're holding these seminars, and over the weekends and 24/7 otherwise, the different forums that you're kind of seeing these on, the different groups, those resources are always available to you. Jeff, Sarah, myself will be answering questions. So too will others on this group who are watching. We've noticed people are very encouraging and stepping up and answering questions for each other. So those resources are always available. Come next week. The times for these shows may switch, but we will discuss amongst the three of us what times work, and we'll put it over the weekend. We'll put those show plans up to make sure that everyone knows what time these seminars will be happening. And also we want to make sure that different times are had, so more and more people who can't get their questions answered at this time in particular might be able to get it answered if it's at another time. But we're going to be here for you guys as long as we need to be. So, Sarah, I've read most of the questions I have here. I don't know if you had any more coming up, or Jeff, if you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, I think people are just asking for what is a couple things that they always get hung up on. I know you addressed this in the past. We had questions around how does the hourly rate work, right? So if I'm, what do I put as far as how many weeks I've worked if I am an independent contractor versus an employee? That's a major question that seems to be coming. And then there are some specific questions that are still trying to come in. So maybe is it possible for us just to kind of go over the Illinois process really quickly and hit the major marks on it, please, Jeff?
Sure. So, the first obviously is to apply online. The state, and I think there's less problems if you select direct deposit for your unemployment benefits, but you also have the option, if you don't have a checking account, to get a debit card. They'll send the money. It's just a direct deposit seems to be more efficient. It seems like it's taking anywhere from a few days to a couple weeks to get your first letter from the state. To back up a second, you need to get a claimant number when you apply online. If you don't get a claimant number, you've done something wrong and you need to try again. Don't worry about applying to the workforce. It's not working, and for most, it doesn't matter. So once you get your claimant number, you're in the system. That being said, there's sometimes problems with being in the system. So if you haven't received any correspondence in 2 weeks, please call the state of Illinois. It's on the banner at the bottom on the marquee, and, try to get through. I've heard if you hear about the $600 federal benefit, that you're now in the telephone system and wait. So if it's 5 o'clock and they say they're not taking any calls after 5, they should not hang up on you. You should sit in the queue till someone answers, maybe 5:15, maybe 5:30, but they are supposedly taking all the calls. You can start at 7:30 in the morning. The questions that you answer on the application are pretty straightforward. You should know most of the answers. As far as your wages and stuff, just get close. They actually have all your information if you worked in Illinois, so that's what it gets calculated on. Go ahead, Raza.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. So your wages get calculated on a benefit year. That benefit year is 5 quarters ago, 4 quarters ago, 3 quarters ago, and 2 quarters ago. Reason they did this, in the old days, they didn't have sophisticated computer systems. So when the employer submitted your quarterly income, the state didn't have the ability to figure out that number yet. It took them about 3 months to be able to calculate it. So they still go through that old system. However, if during that benefit year you didn't make as much as you did in the last quarter, you can ask for an alternate benefit year, which would be the last quarter and the 3 quarters before that, to help calculate. So you got options there. Once you get everything, you're going to get your day to go online and certify. If you miss that date, then please don't miss it. It's very important. But for whatever reason, if you can't do it the following Thursday and Friday, you need to go on and certify. And that's where it asks you if you've made any money, if you're actively searching for work, if you're able and available. And under COVID-19, you are. It's going to ask you how many days you were unable to work. Put down 0 if it's because of COVID-19. If you were on vacation and you couldn't work, you'll have to put down the days you could not work because of that. Then you will get your check. Normally, it would take 2 to 3 days. Sorry, not check, a deposit into your accounts. Normally, it would take a few days. It has been taking up to 14 days, depending upon the system. So anywhere from a few days it'll be there till 14 days. The certification process is going to be difficult because we have millions of people doing that every 2 weeks now. So that's it. And I've been noticing some questions have been scrolling through. And if people have questions, like personal information stuff they don't want to share, they can call me at 331-222-9529, and ask the questions. We're trying to answer as many as we can. The other thing is, the thing that's changed also, if you apply, so I've heard this, some local office reps have been saying, if you call in to apply, they can only go back 1 week. The rule is they go back to March 29th. So you'd be entitled to benefits from the date. I'm sorry, it goes back to the date you're severed. Your $600 goes back to March 29th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justin said, thank you for this good information. I want to thank you, Justin, for coming in with a question, because what we've noticed is if there's a question you have, it's probably a question a lot of other people have. So thank you again, and thank you to everyone who's asking these questions and helping the information get out there to everybody else. We have a question coming in from Lynn. If I opt to take some vacation time, do I have to wait then to file?
So it's up to you. I wouldn't wait, because what's going to happen if you wait too long, your benefit year is going to move and you might have less income. If you haven't been working since the COVID-19, you're going to possibly create a benefit year with less income. So I'd apply right away. And then when it asks you, were you available for work? How many days were you not? And you're on vacation, you have to put 5 days down, or whatever your days of vacation, if it's a weekend, for that. So hopefully that answers it. But yes, if you're not available for work, you need to put down that you're not. It won't ask you why not.
One more question coming in here. My contract was canceled mid-March. Will I get back pay from the federal funds after applying on May 11th?
So you should get benefits from the time that it was, you stopped working, we're not getting paid for. Reason being is the federal government enacted the law. It's the state of Illinois that is, and I'll use the word slow in getting the software up and running. Some states it's already running. So this isn't your fault that you weren't getting paid right away when the Pandemic Act was put in place, the CARES Act. So it's my hope that the government pays you. If not, we've got some issues. And then, of course, someone asked yesterday, and I thought it was an excellent question, what happens when the money runs out? That may be a possibility. I don't know where they're going to take the money from, but there's probably a lot more people than they calculate. I know the payroll protection plan, they ran out of funds rather quickly for that. But under the Social Security Act, this unemployment is supposed to be funded. So,
All right. Sarah, is there any questions on the groups you're monitoring that need to be answered?
No, not at this time.
Let's see here. Is there a certain amount you have to make to get a PUA benefit similar to regular unemployment?
So the pandemic amount, in order to get the $600 federal, you just need to make, weekly benefit needs to be $1. And so how it's calculated, your weekly benefit amount is 47% of your annual wages. There's caps on the most it can be. And then you get a dependency credit if you have a non-working spouse. And then you get a dependency credit if you have children, dependent children. But the 600 only kicks in, and the dependency credits only kick in if you're getting at least $1 in unemployment benefits. I hope that answered the question.
We have about 9 more minutes here. Jeff, is there anything? Oh, you know what? Let me get to this question. And then I'll give you an opportunity if there's any general guidance you want to talk about. And I also do want to talk about what's going on with the stay-at-home order in Illinois before we cut out of here. So we're a little short on time, but let's make sure to get this question answered. On the form, it asks how many weeks you made over 484. I worked for a company for 35 years. Do we need to enter all those weeks?
I actually think there's a limit on the number you can enter. Put down as the best guess you can, but I think it limits you on what number it is. I don't remember what the number is, but I recall that.
All right.
And then just so once again, the calculation for your weekly benefit amount is a benefit year. Doesn't matter what you put down for your wages. It only matters what your benefit year is and how much you've made during that year. So, yeah.
Jeff, so tell us, what is going on with the stay-at-home order? I know we've talked about this quite at length over the course of the week. The governor has his idea to keep this going till June 1st. There's been, now I believe it is three different kind of appeals to this, not appeals, 3 different challenges to this ruling, 2 with state lawmakers. I don't know who the third one is, basically questioning that can he do it past 30 days? What's going on with that? Where do you think that stands? From your expertise as an attorney yourself, how do you see this playing out?
So and I was just looking up the numbers. So they're suing because the law only allows a governor to issue an order for 30 days. And I was looking, but here's the thing. None of his orders have lasted longer than 30 days. I think it's over 20 orders he's issued now. The recent one, the stay-at-home order, has just recently been changed. So that would have 30 days. But they've been careful that none of the orders last longer than 30 days. So that's the first one. So their argument is, the plaintiffs are arguing the order lasts longer than 30 days, and therefore it's not valid. The state has responded that none of the orders have gone more than 30 days, so it doesn't matter. And I think in the first one, I can't remember the plaintiff's name, but the Attorney General has argued that in the past, other governors have issued orders, and this representative has actually applauded those orders for emergencies. And then the second issue, and I don't know how this is going to play out or if they're going to even get to it. The Illinois Constitution gives the governor a lot of power. It's not limited by 30 days. It doesn't have, much clear direction on what its limitations is. So the 30-day order may not be relevant because he issues new ones, but it'll be interesting to see if the appellate court gets to the constitutional restraints on the governor, what the governor can and can't do. And I think, the 30-day order, there's been governors in the past who've extended their orders past 30 days. Pandemics don't last 30 days, and the ability for a governor to do something is, it's a lot easier than having all the legislatures get together and go through the procedures. So in an emergency, I think that the governor should have the ability to enter orders, and when something goes longer than normal, or, if it turns out the pandemic goes away and then all of a sudden it spikes again, the governor should be able to do orders. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm predicting the appellate court will reverse the first case, and then the appellate court's decision will impact all future plaintiffs too. So that may end all the litigation. And then, and I'm sorry, I think it's before the Illinois Supreme Court that this decision. So the Supreme Court will probably end all the litigation over this and address it once and for all, because governors have been doing this since the history and since the Illinois Constitution in 1971. So,
Jeff, to all of our viewers who want to talk to you over the weekend or whenever else you are free, we're putting your phone number down here. If Jeff doesn't get to you immediately or quickly, please do forgive him. He's been on the air with us every day at 1:00 this whole week. I know it's his pleasure to do so. He really does want to help people out, as do Sarah and myself. And we're all in here with you guys for however long it takes to get this information out. We have to end here in a couple minutes, 3 minutes here. So we just do want to get the information out that the groups you're watching this on are 24/7. It's all of us looking out for each other. The three of us do this Facebook Live, but it's many more people who contribute to this. If you look at the comments down here on the side, we're all helping each other out, answering questions, talking about the tips that's going to help each and every one of us weather this storm. So we'll be here for you in that respect over the weekend. Come next week, even though we've been doing this 1:00 every weekday, we're going to have to change it to accommodate some schedules. But we will make sure to keep that posted so that you guys know when to join us to get your questions answered on the live feeds. The three of us will coordinate and we'll put out a week schedule. But
I have to
and
go.
I think that'll be better because some people are unable to meet at 1 to 2. So I think we'll be able to get some people that just can't do it right now. So that'll be great.
Yeah, and again, on each of these groups, Michigan, Nevada, as well as Illinois, there are some really tried and proven tricks to kind of follow through the prompts of getting ahead of the online queues. Actually, not just getting ahead of the online queues, just bypassing some of the long narratives that are telling you to hang on or do this or do that. You can follow those prompts to kind of jump, save a little time here and there.
We've seen people that have showed screen grabs on each of these groups, 5 hours to get a question answered. So really anything you can do to kind of help yourself save time. You're absolutely right, Sarah.
Yeah, so go ahead and go to your specific state and those groups. There are some tried and proven tricks out there. Use those. But at the very bottom of all of this are trying times for all of us, especially those people that are on the customer service side helping us out. So we are kind of doing the best that we can. So just be patient. I understand that 9 hours or 12 hours is not being patient. I get that. But there are ways that, the states are working, our legislatures are working in order to make this better. So just a public service announcement from my side. Just hang in there, be patient, and take care of the little ones like this one over here.
Yeah, and just to say from Jeff Jacobson, Sara Sadat, Raza Siddiqui, and Myra back there, we're with you guys. We're going to be here as long as we can to get this information out. And I want to leave it on that note, but was there anything you wanted to add, Jeff?
No, it's I think we're gonna need to plan for after the 11th because we're gonna have a surge of issues then. But yeah, everyone have a nice weekend. I'll be available possibly to answer some questions. Gonna make some bread and try to put up a little brick wall in my backyard this weekend. So we'll see you guys later.
Unfortunately, there's a stay-at-home order, so I can't help you with any of that. Be as helpful of a neighbor as I could be, but wish you good luck on the wall, and we'll have enough to keep you busy come next week. So thanks again, Jeff, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again, and we'll see you next week. We'll have the